Ladies and gentlemen, the Florida State football program is a complete disgrace to programs and footballs and programs that play football. This is a little bit embarrassing. Now, I do want to come out and say that Memphis is no slouch. Memphis is not a team that people thought, Florida State was going to roll over. But really, it's what this signifies as the Florida State team being 0-3, right? It has a lot to do with Memphis being a good team, but even more to do with Florida State completely crumbling at the inside. So we're going to talk about DJ Ukulele and the things that he did awful, the things that he did good, and some bright spots, and hopefully some things that will help him as he, I pray, sits for the rest of the season and maybe goes on for this 8th season somewhere in some random Pac-12 Mountain West team so he can pad his stats. As for the rest of the Florida State team, there's clearly some NFL talent here. There's clearly talented players, but there's no discipline. There's no cohesion. I've said this earlier, and I'm here to say it again. This is the biggest. This in Colorado, they're the biggest. This Colorado and Texas A&M are the biggest proponents of why the transfer portal isn't just this cure-all, catch-all for every single program. Because if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't transfer and do it the right way, if you don't plug and play the right players that can plug and play, who are actually professionals, it's gonna look bad. Maybe there was a reason why back in the day transfers had to wait an extra year, because you just throw them out on the field and somehow expect this newly, freshly minted team to look good at all. DJ's not a terrible quarterback. Their running backs are still elite talents. They have elite. It's Florida State. I mean, they're recruiting from all of Florida, from the south of Georgia. Like, they've got players, they've got talent, they've got great transfers. I don't think Mike Norvell, that's his name? I think so. I don't think he's a complete bust. Maybe he's just not up to the complete task of trying to completely resculpt this team and try to inject some sort of culture into a team that clearly didn't have it and it wasn't packaged for it. So let's look at the tail of the tape. We're going to get into some of the numbers, the things, the facts, the figures, and kind of the different things that made this game. And I think before doing anything and saying anything, again, Memphis is a good team. I don't want that to be lost. This was always a big. This was supposed to be Florida State's first real challenge coming out of beating up on Georgia Tech in Ireland, which was supposed to happen, and then beating a rival in Boston College, getting you tuned up. But hey, it's Boston College. You're going to see a good quarterback and a decent defense. And then you were going to get to the scrappy Memphis team, who is really going to give you a run for what you got going on. But now we're sitting here 0-3 in a game where Memphis controlled it, but Florida State really just gave it away. I think the 12-20 gives a little too much credit to what Florida State was doing. So let's read some of these stats. Florida State is the first team in the AP poll history to start a season in top 10 and go 0-3 with all 3 losses to unranked teams. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This isn't an insane schedule. Oh, they went to an SEC guy and then to here, then to. It wasn't 3 big bad dogs that Florida State went to. It was supposed to be a tune-up game and go enjoy Ireland. It was supposed to be beat your rival at home, and then hopefully you scrape by against Memphis and you get tested as a team. They were ranked, what, like 8 or something, 10 or they were ranked in the top 10. And we flounder out. And just like we talked about the last time Florida State rolled out and played football, it's lifelessness, dog. This isn't a team that doesn't have talent. It's just completely lifeless when things happen. So, of course, people have to get there, and I am going to have to go ahead and pull up the score for this game if I could real quick. But before that, of course, we got more memes and things to look at. I just want to see if we can pop it up real quick so we don't have to re-pop it up. Where is it at? It's all good. But they're saying this is the worst day of all time in Florida State history. I don't think it is, man. I don't think it's that bad. I think he's just painfully mediocre. And I think for this team to pull things together, I don't think painfully mediocre is what you need. Florida State has asked DJ Ukulele to quit and go get a job, play football. Georgia broke Florida State permanently. Florida State has a serious chance to take the number 1 spot from Iowa in our end of September poll. If you're not familiar with Sickos, if you watch and love real football, if you love the action, go watch and follow the Sickos community. They do it big. These are the best stats. I love when these stats come out. These stats only come out when the team that paid loses, and it confuses people who don't watch football. every single time. This happens regularly. Every single year, about like the first 3 or so teams or first 2 or so teams, these big teams pay these small teams to build your program, get your things going. And even as something like this, I think this is something that people don't realize, right? Even ACC to American, even though I know that's Power 4 to Group of 5, it's not a big drop off for these two teams. They still get paid. Florida State is still a bigger prestigious school. $1.3 million to play at home and lose to the Memphis Tigers. That's phenomenal. I love that, though. I love those stats are great. Florida State 0-3 clinches under 9.5 wins. The first FBS team to clinch under its projected wins total this season. Florida State are breaking amazing records. I'm being as serious as ever. This might be the worst Florida State team of all time. Man. And then let's look at the measurables here. 238 total yards to 337. I mean, FSU comes out in like the second play of the game and squirts the ball out on the field, just hopping, jumping, and plopping everywhere. Memphis go ahead and scoops it up. Like I said, don't take anything away from Memphis. I don't think that they are scrubs. They're not some elite team. They are in the American, right? But they were supposed to be the team that was circled to give Florida State a bit of a run for their money, not beat them by a full possession. And really what it was 2 possessions, because we don't count that last score there. I don't count these garbage time scores. The game was over, dog. It was 9-20. 337 total yards, 238 total yards at FSU. 3 turnovers turnovers. 3 turnovers for Florida State. You're not gonna win a lot of things that way. And Mike Norvell goes from a coach, right, that goes on an undefeated run and puts himself probably in a lot of good conversations when it comes to either taking the next step or maybe players wanting to come. And that's why he had so many transfers successfully in there. You've effectively wiped all that away. And you did that in the second game. I know there was a bunch of players decommitting, XYZ, LMAP. I mean, this is, in this microwave culture, in this transfer portal, like, if you got all that business and you start off 0-3, and you're losing to all unranked teams, dog, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix that for you, man. This is some sad stuff, dog. But yeah, y'all, shout out Matt Big Great. Y'all better go clock in his video. That's gonna be elite as soon as that's ready and cooked up. Yeah, man. Oh, sorry, that's for another one. I thought I had one more stat for you. I know there's a whole lot of craziness going on. I think I might do a separate video about all that craziness cooking there. Memphis is up 13-3. Here it is. This is just phenomenal. Now, I want to sit here and I want to talk about DJ Ukulele. And I want to hopefully talk about this in the most reasonable way possible. And that reasonable way is to say that DJ Hugalaga, whatever way, is the most painfully average quarterback at 6'4", 250 pounds or whatever. He is what seems to be a genetic freak. He has similar measurables to Cameron Newton, okay, as it comes to stature and physique and things of that nature. But runs around like he's like Tavon Austin or something whenever he's about to take a hit. And I don't even mean that in a bad way. Hey, you're a quarterback, protect yourself. But for a team that can't really get anything sparked offensively, obviously besides good running backs, it starts and ends with DJ, dog. 5 for 6 at one point for a combined 7 yards, 1.2 average, and 1 interception. I know, look, we make a lot of jokes about check down merchants and dink and dunkers and oh, you just sit there and you just hit your check downs and you let the receivers do everything. DJ was begging at one point for his receiver to do something. I will say, when we got to the second half, I felt like the playbook opened up a little more. Things of that nature. He had this monster post that was pretty big to kind of get the points flowing again. So I don't think DJ can't do it, And I want to sit here and talk about the terrible coaching for Florida State, because that's a whole nother. I think we're going to end it there and just talk about just not even giving DJ a chance. But when you look at this, dog, like, this isn't normal. Shador Sanders didn't do this, and he didn't have chance. He didn't have time. He was throwing picks. All this otherness. He didn't complete. What was that? 5 for 6. I don't know. I don't do the maths well, but that's over 3/4, over 75% completion percentage on 5 completions, and get 7 yards in total and an interception. That has to be some sort of record there, dog. So then when I go back to it and I talk about the coaching, I'm not going to take too long on this, because I talked about this in the last Florida State video, right? When I said, hey, DJ, I'm going to say it again, DJ is not a bad quarterback. He is just mediocre. He cannot spark this offense. You're going to need a dog to do that. DJ's not that dog. He can throw the ball and put it in places sometimes. But other than that, being a spark, being a offensive, hey, I'm gonna put on my back, like as much as people want to talk crap about Milroe, right? And his inconsistencies in passing, I will take those inconsistencies in passing and XYZ and possible fumble issues from him. Because he can spark that offense. He can run. He can do something. He can throw a ball 50 yards down the field randomly. DJ doesn't even seem to want to do that unless you force him to be in that position. And that's why, coming back to the coaches, why don't we put him in that position? It should be that every time. This is not the first time he's thrown for an embarrassing low amount of yards. This is, I think, the second game in a row, but I know they had a bye week, so second game in a row this has happened. Or second game out of the 3 games that it's happened, right? So, offensive coordinator Mike Norvell, whoever is in charge of giving DJ this offensive game plan, why are we not teeing up DJ to take these shots down the field like we saw him do in the second half? And I think a lot of people have echoed this. This is not my hot take. This is not some mastermind football take that, I'm looking at. No, this is a lukewarm TikTok take that you can find. Everyone is looking at it, and people have been saying it since last year, since Keon Coleman. Why is this explosive wide receiver out of Michigan State being used for hitches and curls and comebacks? And then and y'all wonder why Jordan Travis is running around snapping his fibia or whatever. Because all his wide receivers are running basketball player routes. They're just sitting at the 10-yard line, hoping. There's no explosion being drawn up. And I think the same thing can be said about this year's offense, especially scheme-wise. In what way are they looking at this, as much as we can make fun of DJ 5 for 6, 7 yards, in what way is this not a schematic problem? How have you set him up to some ungodly? I'd rather that shit say 1 for 6 with 20 yards, 1 reception. That's 10 times better than throwing and completing 5 balls and not even getting a first down. I don't know, man. There's going to be a lot of DJ jokes. There's going to be a lot of jokes because he is painfully mediocre. And when you mix painfully mediocre with him not being able to be a real fire starter in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Sorry, I beat my mic. In any way, shape, form, or fashion, I don't think it's going to be the greatest recipe for Florida State going forward. Really embarrassing stuff. I don't know what they do. They've got a backup quarterback. Apparently, he could be the future. I think you got to do that. I think with 3 games, like, and if I'm being realistic. I'm not talking about the Miami. I mean, Tua should retire type realism. I'm talking about yo dog. I think you can still get a red shirt off, DJ, and literally play your 8th year at the age of 26. So if that's what you want to do, I'm guaranteeing you Fresno State's going to have a place ready for you. I'm guaranteeing you Nevada's going to have a spot ready for you. Go over there, throw for 3,500 yards, run for another 500, throw for 30 touchdowns, and get in by the 5th round of the draft, okay? I believe in you, DJ. I believe you can be mediocre, okay? But I appreciate you joining this video, man. Get in the comments and let me know what the Florida State predict their record, man. They're 9.5 wins. Over under has smashed the under. Please let me know what you think their schedule is going to finish out. They've got a few, I think, pieces on there left in the schedule, so let me know about that. But otherwise, like this video if you like it, man. Dislike this video if you don't like it, man. Subscribe if you want to join the tribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.